How old are you?
I'm 27.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are you? You on high school now?
No.
Oh, I didn't know you was that young, man.
Yeah.
You did.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
When did you start working? With the property like that?
So the properties, I started when I was an accountant, I already had some capital built up, and while I was working on the side, I knew about the sheriff auctions, and I think that was about end of 2014, going to 2015 when I bought my first property. So it's all about keep recycling the money, and as you do it, the better you get and more efficient. And I'm not a real estate license, I'm not an agent, so I have no understanding of property values and prices at the time. I'm just thinking it's a cheap property in the auction, let me just buy it. I didn't understand 2-bedroom with 1-bathroom houses compared to 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, more marketable. You know, I didn't understand these things from Main Street, Pleasantville, not great market value, but anything near Northfield or Absecon is way better market value. Pleasantville. I didn't understand those things, but with time, I actually understood, which led me to buy more efficient properties and, you know, and make, alhamdulillah, more of a better turnout and profit. And just from smaller scale properties, I started buying one nice one, you know, 4 bedrooms in Galloway or EHT, and with profit, go back. It's all about recycling and discipline, you know. I wouldn't go and enjoy myself. I would actually use the same profit back into it, keep recycling from 1 to 2, 2 to 4. It creates exponential growth, you know. So alhamdulillah, I have, you know, a good decent amount of stock now. But it all started from just investing in one. It's kind of close to like the drug game, you know. Half a brick, 1 brick, 3, 5.
You sold drugs?
I never sold drugs. I never touched it. It's, you know, a lot of my influence from hip hop, you know, 50 Cent music. So, you know, you hear that, you know, business mindset and the concept from the streets, you know, similar to it, you know. Yeah. So the goal is to make as much as you can to get into different streams of, you know, businesses. So from this, I want to do hotels. Like you buy a hotel, fix it up, renovate it, and flip that hotel. You know, it's more bigger scale. Everything, it takes money to make money, you know? Like a house, like I was telling you, Fox Run cost me, you know, $40,000 at first. It takes 15 to, you know, fix it, flip for 75, 80, you know? After closing, commission costs, work expense, you make a quick 4 or 5,000, you know? At the time it was decent, but right now, it's not in my increment of profit. I have a calculation that I have to make at least 40 a flip for me to be worth and invest my money. So with that, you flip, you buy instead of a condo townhouse, you buy an actual house. From actual house, you buy a house in a better location, such as, you know, EHT Galloway, which will run you a house for 160 to 175, and they cost 15, 20 to fix, and they flip for 220, 230. And then right now I'm trying to get into Margate, and Margate, those houses are worth 600,000 or $500,000, but they flip for 900,000 to $1 million. And then the next step after this is the hotels I was speaking about. You buy hotels, you know, 800,000 to $1 million, and they flip for 1.5 to $2 million, you know. So that's like my next goal, because people always gonna need a place to stay when they hospitality and tourism always gonna be here. You know, when people are depressed or they're happy, they're gonna travel regardless. So they're gonna need a place to stay. So hotels always gonna be here. And if not hotels, after the real estate market crashes, you can get, you know, buy businesses, laundromats, convenience stores. You can take all your money, put it into rentals, and just have passive income until, you know, an opportunity creates itself. So,
Big man, do you like doing? I used to do that. I hate it.
Rentals?
Yeah, I hate it.
No, I have quite a few rentals, but the thing is, if you notice, I put all my rentals on social networks. So most of the time, it's people who I grew up with are my tenants. So it's more easy for me and more convenient to deal with them.
Really? You think that's easier?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, some of them, you know, they want to break. Like, instead of paying rent this week, I do it next week. Listen, a week or two doesn't hurt me. She's my friend, you know. But there's a line of discipline, you know. I'd say, you know, end of the day, it has to be paid by this end of this month or whatsoever, you know. But
You gotta get out.
yeah, but yeah, majority actually my tenants are occupied by people I grew up with because I put it on social networks.
Someone that wanted to start off,
Okay.
what would they do? That's when to start off.
You gotta have capital saved, you know. Like you have to work the rest of your, like, you know, at some point in your life that you had about 50 to 60K saved. And from there, you start small. You buy a house, or not a house, like a condo.
Yeah.
You get people come fix it up, and flip. In this market, you can flip anything, any condo, any house. It's in the worst neighborhood, best neighborhood. It doesn't matter because you're buying it cheap. If you're buying it cash, you're buying it 40% below that market value.
Right. So you say someone that doesn't have 40 or 50K to buy a house.
Yeah.
So you think they get an investor in that? Like,
They can do the legwork. Like they can go and ask somebody like, hey, I have this proposition. I'll do all the legwork. You give me 60K, and from the profit you keep half and I'll keep half, or like you keep 60%, I keep 40%. But my situation is a little different. I had everything saved up. And just like I was telling him, my culture codes, we don't ask people for money or a handout, because when you do, they look down upon you. Like in our culture, we don't like to borrow, and as well Islamically, we don't engage in interest.
Right.
It shows you why America collapsed, because of interest, and that's what ruined the economy. So we don't do the bank loans or interest for asking, but there's nothing wrong. That's just my culture thing. I think it's a beautiful idea. Like if you don't have that capital, go seek help as an investor. And like let's just say, like an aunt or uncle that's retired, got nothing going on, ask, 50, 60, having a contract and say, hey, I can make more of your money than what it is chilling in the bank. 60, 70K sitting in the bank, you're probably making what, 2,000 or 3,000 in the account. With that in a year, you can make easy, you can double that for them,
So you like, you Pakistani, right?
Correct.
All right. So then, in your culture, y'all got it like that, where you can go ask an aunt or uncle for 50, 60K?
From my personal experience, no. I couldn't even ask my own father for that. And my father's a well-off man, I would just, but let's just say, like, if I had uncles and aunts living close by and they were doing well, I don't know everybody's economics. I'm just being stereotypical of like white people, Their aunts and uncles got them, they can ask the uncle and aunt for this or that favor, But I know within our communities, people borrow money from amongst each other interest-free. They help one another. They don't go to banks, they go to one another, because, the interest thing goes back to being haram, and it's a good deed to help somebody that's struggling with an interest-free loan, because then you say that, Allah gives you that reward.
But when you was here a few weeks ago, we was talking about when we did the business networking thing, we was talking about the generational wealth gap. What you think about that?
Further elaborate, like, what do you mean?
All right, so there's a wealth gap that exists in different cultures that say, I hate that it breaks down to like a cultural thing, but we all know people in this country, let's say majority white people of different ethnicities, right? They have wealth that's been passed down to them generationally, right? That because take for instance the president, right? So because he was given a certain amount of money and opportunities, he starts off in the race further ahead than his counterpart of the same of a different culture. So like what people don't understand about like with black people is that because of slavery and reparations were never paid to the descendants of slaves, we automatically, because we don't have generational wealth to pass down to every, to our children, our grandchildren, we're not given the same opportunity to start that same race at the same time as our counterparts. Your family was immigrants, right? So they come over to this country and you start with nothing. Say my family and Keith's family, we're already in this country. We're starting with nothing plus debt. You see the difference? Mm-hmm. So you already, because we actually built the country here, and this country's built off the back of slaves and oppression and all those things. We're actually starting where
in the negatives.
In the negative.
Than zero.
Yeah, it's worse than zero because nobody has anything to hand to me. Nobody's gonna pay me anything they owe me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a quick, understanding of this. Like I said, I grew up in Galloway. I'll give you my own example. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Galloway. I went to school. My friends went to school. Mm-hmm. They were clowning around. I wasn't. I was in the books. What happened? I got a scholarship. They didn't. Now they had to pay for college. I came out debt free, right? Every money I make, I saved. You know, I had a good job, accounting job as well. I did a bunch of investments on the side. So I built my capital in a way. There's no handouts. It's about who wants to keep that persistence up and who's hungry for it. It's an opportunity. I'll give you an example of my parents. We're not no kings or queens or princesses back in Pakistan. We're from a middle class family. They came here. We're from war torn countries, you know. They came here, not even probably a couple thousand, you know, under 5,000 they came with. My parents were both attorneys, lawyers by education, but they came here for an opportunity, think you can make more. America is like this Disneyland everybody wants to chase. They think you can make $1 million a week. But once they come in, they know it's different. They started off working in the boardwalk, $4 or $5 an hour. Living on top of, right across Tropicana, there's a mini mart that's still there. They live in that 1-bedroom house, you know, 1-bedroom condo. And from that, working from that, they got into the casino. My pop had money saved up, he bought a jitney. Money from making jitney, he flipped the jitney. With that money, he bought a gas station, flipped that gas station. He made his wealth in his own way. People have a misconception that just because we go ahead that everything is handed. Nothing is handed to us. My father, to this day, never gave me $1. You know, actually, I do all the work. I help his business, do his stuff for free because I'm his son, out of respect. Normal person would charge for that. I'm a CPA accountant education. That's like 60, 80K salary to run his business. I do it for free.
Yeah, you should.
You know, but that's my father, so we do it out of respect. And the thing is, the difference of culture is we push our kids into education. The African American culture doesn't really push the educational point. It's more, I notice, like sports, which is good, but it's supposed to be more of a balance. Education, I haven't seen as much push into that. In our culture, they say even if there's no dinner, no food, no nothing, doesn't matter. You keep studying. Anything less than an A, you get a smack in the face. It's true. They laugh at the Chinese, like, what you gotta be? Oh, they'll slap you. That's how it is in our culture. Anything less than an A, you got in trouble for it.
You can't say. I mean, that's not all African American.
No, all. I'm saying though, predominantly in our culture, we're worried more about education than anything else. Like
my household was like this. If you bring home, you bring a C home.
Yeah.
You getting beat up and you getting things taken away from you.
Yeah.
It's like what you did. I went to school.
Yeah.
Or to college, high school, in the books, played sports.
Yeah.
It just didn't have that gap. Had a job out of high school and all that. Just that point when you saying you had to see what's up. Like I was a cook, I was a busboy, a waiter, food runner, then I came to cook. All through high school and still playing sports.
Yeah.
That still wasn't enough money for me to save up to have 40, 50K for me to start a business or get a rental property or do whatever I got to do.
Everybody's economics is different. And a lot of it has to do with just blessing from Allah. You know, the right time, the right moment, you know, the right connections. Good things come out of it, you know.
I mean, but everything is a blessing from Allah. Whether it's because everything is created by Allah. Whether it's hardship, whether it's you know a benefit. But like what we saying is like if you like
I want to go back to what I hope nobody thinks. What I'm trying to say is like, you know, education is a key factor of how your mind works.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? It broadens your mind, your brain. It exercises it. So it makes you make more better decisions and everything. And that just gives you more advantage, you know, of reading the books into education. I don't like reading books. I still don't like school. But I did it, you know.
No, what I mean is I don't think like you are I'm not offended or nothing, but like your perspective is that African American culture doesn't.
No.
That's what you said.
I didn't say that.
What'd you say?
I said our culture pushes more for education than other culture, like Asian culture.
You said I don't see. He said I think African American culture pushes sports more than education.
I seen it from my own experience. From what I seen.
And why you may feel that way because
no, I had friends that, you know, pursue education and everything, predominantly from what I've seen, you know. People were in late study more, they were more, you know, chilling, playing ball. And late study is more like the Asian crowd in there. So it's basically from what I see, from my eyes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My statistics is, what I say is not the real statistics.
No, I know what you mean.
You asked me for my opinion from what I see.
No.
That's what
I was asking you.
Yeah.
What I asked you was, did you believe in, or did you know that there's a wealth gap? Because if you don't experience it, I always ask people that from other cultures, because sometimes people from other cultures they don't see it because they don't feel it. You know what I mean? Like even with me, like when I was younger, I used to feel the same way. Like, hey, we all got the same opportunity. The reality is, once I got older, and I learned this from when I was in college, and I studied sociology, we actually don't all have the same opportunities. And
I feel like we're more disadvantaged because we don't speak the English language when we come here. English is my second language. I speak 4 languages total. The other 3 I learned first, then I learned English. I was like in this English ESL program. I remember up to like the 2nd or 3rd grade. You know, what I'm saying is like we didn't know the English. We don't know how the business works. We don't know like American economics, but we made something from it coming from war-torn countries. You know, so people who
so you think that your culture, you guys are more disadvantaged than anyone else?
Of course. Anybody that comes from outside the United States are disadvantaged. Like I said, we don't speak the language. We don't know American economics. We don't know how things run. We don't know anything. We don't know how to open up credit cards. We don't know how to, get rental, nothing. We don't know anything.
Most African Americans don't know that until they 30, 25. So they're basically the same thing. So basically at the same exact thing.
But what I'm trying to say is that we wasn't born here. We don't speak the language. Let's just say y'all come to Pakistan. You guys want to survive a month there, It's a totally different demographic and understanding how way of life is, But I'm saying that like we came from a worsened place that this is like Disney World for us. So we took it. From where we come from, this is amazing. Even like y'all ghettos is our Disney World.
Yeah, you mean the quality of life?
Quality of life, everything.
That's
Even just the quality of pay, how you can run your house. $8 an hour is how much a professional makes after college over there when you do the currency transfer. So it's like.
But all those things are relative. That's what happened anywhere. Like I've been overseas where when I go overseas,
like Nigeria.
Yeah, I can ball out with a little tiny bit of money.
Yeah.
But and of course that's not going to happen here. But the thing is, I think what you mean, or what I'm taking it as like all right, y'all come here and you're recognizing the opportunity and you guys are taking advantage.
I'm saying that we come from disadvantage that we're like everything else is easier for us. We came from hardships. Yeah. Yet, like, people who already live here, they're used to it,
But they come from hardship too.
Yes, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So, if not only just hardship, but
I'm just trying to say, because you're saying generational wealth and what sort. I never, experienced generational wealth. Like, my grandparents wasn't rich. My father accumulated his own wealth. No,
not just. I don't just mean monetary.
Yeah.
Just having a culture.
As a culture. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, your grandparents was able to pass down to you certain values, right? Because you have grandparents, right? Yeah. In this country, a lot of us, we come from. I don't know my grandparents past my great grandmother.
Likewise, my parents they all died from diabetes when in their 40s.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
The diabetes problem?
They're all diabetic because big meat eaters, beef, and sweets. And they don't have the concept of exercise there.
Wow.
So that's why everybody, they don't live life expectancy is not as much as the Western.
But I would assume that. I know it's diabetes. But like
my father's in his 50s and he's diabetic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just saying, like, here, we don't, like, we don't have, like, even knowing your ancestry and stuff, just sticking together, we don't have that. Not that we don't have it in our culture, we don't always have the tradition of passing down those values. It's simple things just like marrying. You see what I'm saying? Like, just, like, I didn't come from a 2-parent household. You know what I mean? And that in itself, that's a benefit. Or like I said
totally
in the beginning,
agree. I totally agree.
Or just like I was saying in the beginning, having like
family structure,
the family structure, and being able to come into a country and being able to start at zero versus starting in the negative. Like, and that most people don't understand that. Like most African American families, that's what it is. You're starting already behind the eight. There might have been a bullshit apology for slavery, right? And you might say, okay, well, let's just forgive and forget, move on. Now, wait a minute, bro. You got to pay me back for all the land that you stole, all the work that we put into the country that's never been paid for, for my ancestors, for the rape, the psychological damage, the traumatic damage you've done. It doesn't mean it got to be a lot, but even a gesture, like, and this is in the Quran.
A lot of unpaid work that happened.
Yeah, blood money. Like, and that's it. And now
that could be passed down. If you did get paid, that generation could have passed down.
So what happens?
I understand.
Like, and if you look in, like, even because this is your field in real estate, even when mortgages was getting written, they had this thing where what's it called? Redistricting, right? Where they would particularly stop. They wouldn't write mortgages to certain communities because they wanted to keep people from moving into those communities, particularly black people and poor people. So what they would do, they would raise the interest rates and requirements for people, so that way they couldn't move into certain communities, and they would raise the prices. And so that's what I mean, starting from behind the eight ball. Like, those are the things that people don't see because they're not always apparent. But if you study, even if you look at the crack epidemic in the 80s, people always say, oh man, well, y'all got caught up into, selling drugs and whatnot. Yeah, but the reality is they was dropping drugs in the neighborhood. And so here's the thing, you start and you're poor, right? And you're living in the ghetto or wherever you're living at. And then people coming into and handing you drugs to go sell. Here, take that. You can go make $1 million a week for it. How can you blame someone for doing it? And then later on, locking those people up. And then those people that you lock up, now you lock those people up, and then you're having them fucking build cars and bras for Victoria's Secret and toys, and like, that's modern day slavery. So you go to jail, and then you're in there, you're working for American corporations for pennies an hour. You know what I'm saying? And then now you have a whole history, like there's families that have been raised off their family growing up in a prison culture. You know what I mean? And in the drug culture. Like, I have friends of mine who were literally, they were taught to like, as kids, taught how to cook crack. And you grow up like that. Now, it's not that we don't value education. We may have valued the wrong education at certain times in history because that's what we were fed. And we were fed that by other races. You understand what I'm saying? So then when it's like, yo, man, we all got the same opportunities. Nah, it's not really that we do, because you have to erase a lot of that. You can't just erase it. Those are things you have to overcome.
My question to you is, what makes our culture then more advantaged compared to your culture?
Well, no, I don't think that it's like...
Yeah. But what advantage?
The only advantage I think you have is just starting from zero. Starting from zero and not in the negative, I think, is an advantage. Okay. Now, here's what I would love to see. This is the part that you consider, but this is why I like talking to you, right? Because you're actually, you're of a different culture, but you have enough respect for our culture to interact with us, right? What happens, especially in the Muslim community, the people, we all meet during Ramadan.
Correct.
And we meet, in the masjid for Jummah, but we don't do business together. We don't, we can't even all right, good question. Could I marry your sister? I don't know your sister. So
in our culture, we marry within our own culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my problem, right?
Yeah.
Would you marry my sister?
Like I said, we marry within our own culture.
So you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
had to do with race. We do it preferable, our own language, our own cooking style.
And I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. So I'm not trying to attack you. I have no problem with that. I think that's a good thing.
But there are people out there that do it because of the race. I understand. Yes.
But what happens, we'll feed this bullshit to each other. Where we'll act like one thing in the masjid, and we'll say, okay, or in the church or wherever we go, oh, we're all brothers. We're all brothers. Alhamdulillah, we'll do this, we'll do that. But those cultural boundaries will keep people from, one, intermarrying, two, from doing business together. So then it ends up, and I'm okay with that, but I don't like when people talk to me like it's not like that. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times, especially in the masjid, I see this all the time during Ramadan. Well, because I talk to everybody in the masjid, but they'll talk to me like, hey, brother, why you don't come to my store? Why you don't do this? Why? And I'm like, you don't come to my store. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna spend no money with me, but yet you'll put a business in my community and expect me to come do business with you. Not really, that's not business. That's just me spending my money with you. Now, then if we say, hey man, we shouldn't support those businesses, they take it as, yo, y'all are racist, y'all have a problem with us. No, we don't have a problem with you, but you, just like you said, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to keep things in your culture. I mean, we're going to do business within our culture, we're going to marry within our culture because we want to preserve our culture and move it forward. But with us, with black people, we're the most forgiving people on the planet Earth. We'll spend money with you, we'll marry into your culture, we'll adopt your culture, we'll dress like you, we'll talk like you, we'll let you marry our women, we'll do all of those things. We'll name our children after your children, like after your idols and stuff growing up. And then nobody will ever return, we won't share any of those things with us. You get what I'm saying? And so then when we say, hey man, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean, or black culture matters, we gotta do for ourselves, then everybody turns around and look at us and say, yo man, why y'all being exclusive? It's not that we're being exclusive, we just wanna, or we trying to get to a place where we, you know, we care about our own thing the same way that your culture would, or the same way a white person would, or a Chinese person.
My personal, when you asked me if I would marry, you know, I wouldn't even marry somebody from Lebanon or Saudi Arabia that are Arabs. Because why? I'm not Arab. I wouldn't marry a white person. Why? They're not me. They're not Pashtun.
Now, doesn't that bother you? Because that bothers the hell out of me when we had a guy in here, remember last week? And the guy said, all them Arabs. I said, bro, Pakistanis aren't Arab.
Right. Yeah, Pakistanis aren't Arab.
They don't piss you off.
And within Pakistanis, it's different. Like I was telling you, there's Punjabis, and there's Pashtuns, and there's people who speak Urdu. It's different demographic. But what you were saying, that mine's a personal preference. I like somebody who speaks my language, speaks my mother's tongue, cooks the food my mother makes, and has that culture understanding. You know, the way our women are, not every other culture woman's like that understanding, you know? Like the men is the leader, more predominant, more the decision maker.
She wants your wife to follow.
Yes, like I'm always a gentle leader, you know? Yeah. So it's that culture understanding of the man and the wife within my culture. That does exist, that racism, what you're saying, yes, because you're African American, another culture will not give you his daughter. That does exist, you know? We don't live in 100%, you know, beautiful world that everyone's honest and helpful. You know, that's where we live in, you know? But Islam, it preaches to abolish that. If we believe in that pure Islam that we want for our brothers, we would not be in a position like this today. It would be how Islam used to be, is be one of the most powerful, you know, religion, one of the most powerful nations were Islam, you know? The medical advances, technological advances, the engineering, the studies all came from Muslim countries because we're all one. Allah blessed us. When we act like two-faced Muslims, you see what happens today. We're all separated. Every country in the Middle East being bombed almost, and there's chaos and problems because we don't follow our Islam the correct way.
Yeah, but it's nothing wrong with having pride in your own culture. So like, I'm not offended by you having pride in yours or nothing, but it's just, it always make me mad when if I say I prefer my son to marry another African American person, and they look like, oh, you know, why not? Why you can't marry a white woman? Like, yeah, you can't marry a white woman.
I think it's beautiful when two different cultures come together. Even the children look beautiful, you know. But the thing is, like, it's more. I feel like it's easier for me and my family to have that understanding because when we marry, it's not individuals. there's two families
It's
marrying
the
one
families
another.
that marry each other.
So it's like we gotta have the same language, understanding, and cultural understanding, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why my preference is within my own people. Like I said, I wouldn't even marry an Arab. Our culture's different.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm with you on that. You marry a white woman?
No, my mother wouldn't have it.
Culture different, you know. They speak different language.
I was looking at my mom and say, "You would not bring a white woman in my house."
Yeah.